Hi guys, welcome back to CAD Recaps. Today's drama is very cute one, and I'm sure you'll love it. The story begins with Zhao, a simple girl who works several jobs to help support her family. On the other hand, we see Gu, who is the president of the largest cleaning company in the country, who suffers from a mysophobia, and does not touch anything except his private belongings, which no one else is allowed to touch. Then Gu was on his way to his company when his car stops in traffic. At the same time, Zhao was walking on the road when someone pushed her, and she falls on the side window of Gu's car. Zhao got up and apologized to Gu, but he looked at the car window and found her handprints, so he felt disgusted. After that, Gu starts speaking at a press conference about his new robotic cleaner, Top X. And at the same time, Zhao was working in a coffee shop when she sees the conference, and she wishes that she could work in Gu's company. After that, Gu was in a restaurant, in which Zhao was working as well, and when she saw Gu, she begged him to allow her to work in his company, and he told her that her clothes were dirty, and left quickly. After that, Gu returns home, and discovers that the door was opened, and that Top X had left the house. As for Zhao, she was in her last job for the day as a delivery worker, when she found Top X, so Zhao took it in her bag thinking it is valuable, and that its owner might be looking for it. Then Zhao went to Gu's house, who was surprised to see her, and thought she was following him, but she really didn't know it was his house. Gu sprayed sanitizer on her, so Zhao and the food fall into the ground. Gu tried to help her, but he couldn't, so he put the money on the ground, and entered his house. The next day, Zhao was collecting garbage in the street as her third job, but she saw her colleague and was afraid that he would see her, so she put a piece of cardboard over her head in order to hide from him. And when Gu was in his car, Zhao suddenly appeared in front of him and he almost hit her, before he braked quickly, and the garbage bags fell on his car. Gu got out of the car in anger, and when he learned her identity, she tried to take her mask back, so she fall on him, but he pushed her to the ground, so Zhao left the place crying out of shame. After that, Gu was in his house watching the surveillance cameras, and he learns that Zhao is the one who took the Top X, so he goes to her and tells her that the compensation for what she did to his car costs 5,000, and that if she brought him the Top X, he'll not take it. Zhao went to her house to get the device, when her colleague whom she had seen before called her, and offered her a new job. Zhao went to him quickly, and the job was an advertisement for a spicy food. Zhao ate the food forced to finish the advertisement well, but on her way out, she heard her colleague telling the producer to give her extra money as a charity because she is poor. Zhao felt pain in her heart, and left the place to Gu's company to give him the Top X, and when she entered the company, Gu saw her in front of him passing out. For the first time, he feels worried about her, and carries her in his car to the hospital after putting a cover on the seat, and at the hospital, the nurse told him that it was because she ate a spicy food, and Gu stayed with her all night until he was sure she is fine. Then Gu accepts that Zhao works in his company, and indeed Zhao goes to the company and gets to know her colleagues, and when she was in the bathroom, she was talking to her friend, telling her that Gu is a handsome rich guy but for sorrow he has mysophobia, and she did not know that Gu was listening to what she said, and he thought that everything that happened with them was her plan to make him fall in love with her. After that, Zhao was cleaning the office windows, and Gu was watching her from the other side without her knowing. Then Gu pressed a button by mistake, so Zhao saw him, and fell to the ground in confusion. In the evening, we see Gu who could not get Zhao out of his mind. And the next day, Zhao goes to the company, and there, the head of the cleaning department tells her that she is skilled and there is an additional work for her. Zhao tells him that she does not have the sense of smell and that she can do the work, but Gu hears her, and goes out in front of everyone to prove that she is lying. He brings her smelly stuff, but she fights off the smell just to get the work. After that, Gu saw Zhao's neighbor coming to pick her up from work, so he felt some jealousy. Then he entered his office and decided to make her return again, so he asked an assistant to call her to come and clean his office. But when his assistant called her, Zhao fell down the stairs, and Gu heard her screaming on the phone, so Gu felt very worried and he ran quickly to her house. As for Zhao, she was injured in her foot, but she went with her neighbor to look for her brother, and when they returned, Zhao found Gu waiting for her in front of the house, and when he saw her with her neighbor, he thought that they were on a date, so instead of checking her health, he scolded her and ordered her to return to work. But her neighbor told him that she wouldn't be able to, because she is injured, so Gu got upset and left. In the car, Gu's assistant told him that he noticed that he had taken a lot of interest in Zhao lately, and this is a sign of love, but Gu denied. After that, Zhao was in the company waiting for Gu to sign some papers, when her colleague saw her again, and he went to her to persuade her to work with him as a model, but Gu saw them, and went to her asking her if she wanted to go, but Zhao told him that she didn't want, so for the first time, Gu grabbed her hand and pulled her, telling them she isn't going anywhere. But on the escalator, Zhao stumbled and accidentally kissed Gu, so of course Gu passed out, because he couldn't bear to be touched by anyone. Zhao went with him to the hospital crying, and because she was feeling guilty, she went to her house and made him a soup. Then she returned to the hospital and gave it to him, promising to prepare one for him every day. Gu looked at her, and got lost in her eyes, so Zhao blushed and left quickly. Time passes, and Zhao was with Gu in the company, when suddenly someone comes out and threw dirty water at them, so Zhao stands in front of Gu quickly so that he doesn't get dirty. Gu took off his coat and put it on her, then took her to his car without putting a cover on the seat, and even took out his towel and began to dry her, without feeling afraid or disgusted by her, and he drove her home. After that, Gu went to buy a new dress for Zhao instead of the other, then he went to her house to give it to her. And at the company, Zhao gave him his coat and told him that she had washed it well. Then after a while, he turned to Zhao's office and took her cup without she notice it. And in the evening, Gu takes out the cup and drinks from it, and he was surprised that nothing happened to him, so he knew that he now loves Zhao. In the morning, Zhao was cleaning Gu's office, and when she started cleaning under the desk, Gu entered the office with his assistant who told him that he cares about Zhao a lot lately, but Gu felt embarrassed, so he told him that he was only watching her because he was waiting for her to make a mistake in order to fire her. Zhao felt sad and got out with tears in her eyes, telling him that she didn't know he hates her that much, then she left before Gu could say anything. The next day, Zhao begins to work hard so that Gu does not fire her, and when Gu sees her, he tries to talk to her, but she does not give him any chance and she leaves him. In the evening, Zhao entered the store to buy a bottle of milk, but her phone died, so she could not pay, but Gu was watching her and entered the store and bought the milk for her and put it on her desk, and when Zhao returned to the store, she bought an extra bottle for Gu because she knew that he was still in the company, then she went to his office and put it on his desk too. And when Gu returned to the office, he saw the bottle, so he thought that Zhao had returned the bottle that he had bought for her, and when Zhao went to her office, she saw the bottle, and she thought that Gu had returned it to her. But they met, each holding a bottle, so they knew that they had bought them together. Then they sit together, and Zhao feeds him the food she prepared, and he ate without getting sick. The next day, Zhao went to buy the milk she loved, but she was surprised by the employee telling her that she is the number 100 customer, so the milk is free for her today. The next day, Zhao also goes to buy milk, and the employee tells her that it is also free, so Zhao suspects her, so the employee tells her that Gu has bought a large amount of milk bottles, and has paid it for her. So Zhao went to the company and gave Gu a bottle of milk. After that, the video of Gu bullying Zhao when his car crashed her went viral, and people started attacking him for bullying a cleaning lady. But Zhao decided to go out on a live video to defend Gu, and to tell everyone that this was just a misunderstanding between them. Gu saw her filming the video, and heard what she said, so he went to her and kissed her, then left without speaking. The next day, Zhao goes to Gu's office nervous, to ask him why he did that, but his assistant enters, so Zhao feels embarrassed and leaves the office. After that, a problem occurs in the company, and Gu was forced to dismiss all the cleaners, so Zhao knows that she will leave the work, but Gu goes to her and hugs her telling her that he was forced to do so. But Gu's mother, who discovered that her son loves Zhao, noticed that her son's condition had improved since he met her. So she went to Zhao and told her that Gu needs a maid in the house, and that he could not be closed to any girl but her, so Zhao agreed only for Gu. When Zhao arrived at Gu's house, he seemed happy with her, and he began to tell her what she should do, and because she was special, Gu could let her cook without a slight problem. And one day, Gu saw Zhao while she was washing dishes, and he was afraid that her hand would be damaged, so he brought her a moisturizing cream, and told her that if she did not use it, he would expel her. After that, Zhao buys a cake that her mother used to prepare for her, and when she ate it, she remembered her mother, so she cried, and when Gu entered and found her crying, he hugged her and told her that he would never leave her alone, but Zhao did not believe that, and she thought that he was manipulating her. Several days later, Gu was preparing to travel with his assistant, and Zhao was preparing the travel bag with him and putting sterilizers inside it. But his assistant calls him to ask him for an emergency leave for a week, and Gu agrees, and decides to take Zhao as his assistant instead. And they go in there, Zhao buys fast food for Gu, to help him overcome his fear. And at night, they go to a hotel, and Zhao sterilizes the room for him as he likes. Then Gu asks her to stay to watch a movie. But Zhao was exhausted and fell asleep, so Gu carried her to bed, and when she woke up in the morning, she found Gu next to her looking at her. When the trip was over, Gu returned to work, holding Zhao's hand and declaring in front of the whole company that he loves her. Zhao did not believe this, but she was happy. After that, Gu prepares a small wedding party for Zhao, in order to ask her to marry him, but before Zhao respond, her neighbor arrives and tells them that Gu's grandfather was the person who hit Zhao's mother with his car and she died. Gu was shocked to hear this, but no less shocked than Zhao, who left the place crying. Gu didn't know anything about what Zhao's neighbor had said, but her abandonment of him made him be in a state of depression, and then, his illness worsened. When his assistant saw that, he could not bear what happened to him, so he decided to search the case of Zhao's mother, until he learned that there is an old woman related to the case, so he told Gu everything and decided to go to her, but Gu decided to go with him himself. Indeed, both of them went to the woman who lived in an old house in a very dirty place. Gu was feeling that he was not well, but he decided to continue for Zhao. There, the woman told him that she is his grandfather's driver's wife, and it was her husband who was driving the car, not his grandfather, and Gu asked her to film this confession, and indeed Zhao saw it, and knew that Gu was innocent. And when Zhao sees the garbage in the place, she quickly goes there, and sees Gu, who quickly hugged her, and lost consciousness in her hands, so they quickly took him to the hospital. There, Zhao apologized to him for not believing him, and Gu told her not to leave him again. After that, he took Zhao to ride a balloon, and there, he took out the ring and proposed to her. This is all for today's drama. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.